Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here, finally completing a set of cards from April. I know why. Inlay. Why do I not do it that often? This is why. These cards were for 3 challenges, originally an inlay one, and this week's live, which is Rainbow Radiance, as well as the monthly challenge of complete a project that you had not finished. So I thought it was very apt that this actually finally all came together. I started out by putting some double-sided adhesive backing on a panel, and then I used my Distress Oxide inks to color that in. I'm going heavy on it. I'm going to let them merge so that it does have a bit of a rainbow effect, but it's a muted rainbow effect. I didn't want it really, really strong and in your face. I brought in some Distress Spritz spray to put over top of the panel so that it would start blending the colors together. Then I grabbed out the Curtain Leaves cover plate, and this is what I'm using for my die cut inlay. I got the brilliant idea that I thought I could use press and seal to hold everything in place when I was poking everything through. But because this cover plate was so intricate, it didn't really work. So I did end up coming up with another format of trying to get everything out in spot. And the little white pieces that were left over there, which I thought I would reuse, no, I just threw them out. I kind of gave up. I did want this portion of it though. I'm using some white embossing powder on it. Then I'm going over it in spots with a clear matte dull powder. And that is so that it will have like a velvety texture to it. Oh, it's so soft. You just want to pet it though. Luckily, the adhesive on the back did not curl up or cook onto it when I was pulling it off, which I'm doing very carefully, as you can see, little bit by little bit. We're going to get it off. We're going to stick it down onto the panel so that we can start inlaying everything. This is the part that I was just having a little bit of trouble making certain I got it all aligned properly. With that white panel set down, we're going to jump over to the color blended one and get it on its way because we need the pieces from it to put in the white one. I did not use the press and seal on this one. I tried the method of poking them out, taking the backing off, and then piecing them into spot. This is something that if you enjoy puzzles, this is going to be right up your ballpark. This took me so much time to do. You can tell I'm starting to get a little funky with it because I'm starting to put colors out of their spots, and I liked that effect actually. Puzzles are not really something that I do that often. It does end up looking good if you're willing to put the time in. With the color blended one being cleared of all its pieces and only the intervenal portion left, I pulled the backing off it and I thought, I am not doing that with the white. So I got out another piece of the double-sided adhesive, cut it out to A2 size, and I stuck the veining portion down on top of it. I didn't want it to be plain old white on this panel because that's boring, right? But I also didn't want to bring in different colored cardstock because that might not be congruous with the color panel. I grabbed out some glitter and some different metallic ones instead because they're neutrals. You can mix those in, right? It'll be little accent spots. Tapped some of them out, put them down in a few random spots. And then I looked at the white cardstock up top with the press and seal and I went, screw it, I'm not doing that again. I recut out another white panel, which I put over top of this one, and I just pushed the pieces through directly into their spots. Gee, that was so much easier. Using the backing paper to press it down so that they adhere really well to that adhesive sheet that was underneath. What do we got next? Admiring it. Okay, that's all looking all right. I'm going to use little white flowers as button highlights on both of these 2 cards. Each of the layers had a different tone or texture of white. The top one, I brought out the All in Create Lots of Triangle stencil and my Ranger, the translucent gloss and the solar paste. I'm mixing them here through. That I did not put back in because obviously those pastes are all mixed together now. I used the spatula just to smear them across a couple of the die cuts. Here is stencil reveal. I love those solar pastes. I think you guys can tell that about me. Once they're dry, now I'm going to start assembling. So I've got my 2 rows lined up, as well as the layering guide that's on the back of that All-New Primrose Blossom die set. It's a little bit tricky, but you can kind of align them for where the petals are. And if not, just offset them a little bit. It does all turn out looking fine in the end. Again, it's just another bit of like puzzle piecing that you're doing. So I thought, well, we already put the time in on the panels. We can put the time in on these. I set the centers on each of them with different colors of metallic cardstock so that we would have that rainbow component done over again. And for the die set, the sentiment that was on the front, I brought in the same colors of the oxide inks that I had used. I'm using a bigger word die, this Have a Good Day, on that one, so it was able to take up that whole portion. As well, I cut out from the Stylish Greetings the Take Care. That one I did in all straight toned cardstocks, but in a rainbow order, and stacked them. This is where I am putting down the Have a Good Day on its shadow backing. This is the part where I stared and stared. I'm like, what was I doing here? What was I doing here? Because it was so long ago that I did this portion of the cards. And then I realized, oh, that's right. I masked it off. Wow, what was I thinking? And then I was like, oh yeah, you wanted to kind of set the embossing powder around it, around the words themselves, to see what effect you could get from that. So I'm pressing it down into the Versamark with, of course, the masking is over top of the Have a Good Day. I'm going to peel those off now, and then I'm going to put the embossing powder over top of it. It's not going to stick in all the spots, so the Have a Good Day mostly is going to resist it. That was Stamp Creations, their white pearl powder, one of the ones from way back when that I have. And of course, this stuff, it seems to keep forever, so I keep using it. I'm certain you guys do with yours too. It is just plastic, right? The growing trend is to have a complete package with the inside sentiments done. A lot of people are doing the envelopes now too. I'm using a combination of You're the Bomb, A Random Act of Cardness, and You Go Girl. And those were from my old Close to My Heart ones. On the backs, we've got our custom stamps that will be setting down for each of these 2 cards. Because those custom stamps are kind of a one chance go situation, I did not rainbow ombre them like I did with the inside sentiments. There's an odd number of the little white button primroses, 5 each, more pleasing to the eye. They're going to get glued down on the focal points of where that outline on each of those cover plates is. Once they were in place, it still looked a bit stark to me. It didn't look like a me card. I thought, just don't worry about it right now. Just continue on. You'll figure something out later. I did bring in some Ranger Glossy accents to put over top of the metallic centers to kind of cause them to be a little dome bubble, and that looked really nice. This is where they sat and sat and sat for a couple of months on my shelves. There's actually a mention of them in my craft room tour, which I'll put the link up there at the top. And this challenge actually allowed me to figure out how to finish them. I got out the Rustling Leaves set. It's one of the press plates. You can use it for foiling as well too. So I got out the rainbow foil. You can see I was, putting it on my glimmer machine, peeling it back. I used shimmer vellum. I was trying to decide whether I liked the reverse part of it or the positive part of it, using the die cut to cut them out. Again, I'm going to snip these all apart and insert them as leaves underneath the flowers with the rainbow colors, and also causing a swirl pattern so that your eye follows them around the sentiment that's in the center, but at the same time not blocking out the die cut in the back. And there we are, finally, 2 finished cards. Yay, project complete. One of the ones that we all have in the back burners, right? It's done. These are a labor of crafty love with their inlaying. Someone that is a crafter will appreciate that, whoever the 2 ladies are that are going to be getting these cards. You guys all go out, be that change you want to see in the world too. I am. We'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.